Have you ever poured a bowl of cereal and just kind of noticed how every box seems perfectly full? Or maybe grabbed a bottle of medicine, trusting that the dose is exactly right, that incredible consistency, that sort of hidden precision. It's something we barely think about, right? But it's so fundamental to our everyday lives. Okay, let's unpack this. Today we're taking a deep dive into something maybe not on your radar usually, but absolutely essential to the modern world: the global weight fillers market. Our mission really is to dig into the Global Weight Fillers Market Report 2025 from Cognitive Market Research. We want to pull out the key bits of knowledge, turn that complex data into some surprising insights just for you.
Exactly. And when we talk about weight fillers, it's not just, big clunky machines. These are really sophisticated systems. Think high-speed multi-head weighers for snacks or incredibly precise liquid fillers for pharmaceuticals. They often use advanced sensors, even AI sometimes, for, well, amazing accuracy. Understanding these market trends really gives you a unique window into how global manufacturing works, how supply chains function. It shows this deep need for consistency, for precision, that underpins so much of what we buy and use.
Okay, so here's where it gets really interesting. Let's look at the global snapshot first, the sort of big picture growth. Back in 2021, this market was already a powerhouse. We're talking, what, $3.5 billion dollars in sales revenue.
Yeah, just over $3.5 billion. And what's fascinating is how steady the growth is. By 2025, it's expected to hit over $4.4 billion. And if you look further out, say to 2033, the projection is around $7 billion.
$7 billion.
And that means it's keeping up a strong compound annual growth rate, a CAGR, of almost 6%. About 5.9%, actually.
Right, and what does a KGR like that really tell us?
Well, for a market to keep growing at nearly 6% year on year, consistently, for over a decade,
Yeah.
that signals incredibly strong, steady demand. It tells us this isn't some passing fad. It's fundamental. It's a growing need for businesses everywhere.
That's huge, consistent expansion. And like you said, it's not just happening in one spot. This strong growth is driven by demand pretty much across the board in all sorts of different regions. So let's zoom in a bit. Where is this growth really concentrated? Let's talk regional strongholds first, and maybe some surprising growth areas. North America, for instance, still a really dominant player.
Oh, absolutely. North America's revenue was around $890 million back in 2021. That's projected to climb past $1.1 billion by 2025. And then hit over $1.8 billion by 2033. It's maintaining a CAGR just over 6%, actually 6.2%.
Okay.
And the U.S., well, no surprise there, it's the biggest piece of that pie, over $700 million in 2021, projected to almost double, hitting nearly $1.4 billion by 2033. That's a solid 5.8, almost 5.9% CAGR on its own.
Okay, solid numbers for the U.S., but here's maybe a bit of an aha moment with North America. Mexico. Mexico shows really rapid growth. It's projected to jump from about $77 million in 2021 to, wow, $243 million by 2033. That's almost a 9% CAGR, 8.7% to be exact. That's way higher than the average for the region. What do you think is behind that kind of acceleration in Mexico? Are certain industries booming there?
It's a great question. And yeah, Mexico's growth spurt likely comes down to a few things. We're definitely seeing more foreign investment pouring into manufacturing there. Think automotive, electronics, food and beverage too. Companies are optimizing supply chains, maybe nearshoring production closer to the U.S. and Canada.
That makes sense.
So all that investment directly boosts the need for efficient, high-volume packaging, like these advanced weight fillers. It clearly points to an expanding industrial base.
Okay, that really clicks. Let's hop across the Atlantic now. Europe, also a very significant chunk of this market, I assume.
Definitely. Europe stood at about $644 million in 2021. It's projected to more than double, reaching over $1.3 billion by 2033. That's a CAGR of just over 6.1%.
Still very strong growth.
Yeah, and you have the big players, the UK, Germany, France. They're all contributing significantly. Each one is growing steadily, somewhere in that 6 to 6.4% CGR range. These are, mature, established markets with ongoing demand.
Right, the usual suspects. But Europe also seems to have some surprising high growth spots. Did you know Spain actually posted one of the highest growth rates in Europe, over 6.5% CAGR? Or that tiny Luxembourg, tiny country, even higher CAGR, also around 6.5%. Why do you think we're seeing that in those specific countries?
That is interesting, isn't it? For Spain, it could be driven by growth in their food and beverage exports, maybe, or perhaps increased investment in pharma manufacturing.
Yeah.
That sector absolutely demands high-precision packaging.
Okay.
In Luxembourg, well, The overall market size is smaller, obviously. But a high growth rate like that could signal some big steps forward, maybe new large-scale projects in really specialized, high-value areas. Think fine chemicals, maybe niche pharmaceuticals, even small production runs there need top-tier filling accuracy.
So it's not just the manufacturing giants needing this tech.
Exactly. It shows the demand for precision is pretty much everywhere.
Okay, let's shift focus again. Asia Pacific, a huge dynamic region for so many industries.
Absolutely huge. Asia Pacific was over $810 million back in 2021, and it's projected to essentially double, reaching about $1.6 billion by 2033. That's a nearly 6% CAGR overall for the region.
And within that,
We've got major contributions from China, Japan, and India. China shows really strong momentum, over 6.2% TAGR. Japan and India are also adding significantly, both growing at over 5.5% CAGR.
what's fueling that in Asia Pacific generally?
It's largely driven by, well, rapid industrialization, a huge growing middle class, and just an explosion in e-commerce.
Yeah.
All of that creates massive demand for packaged goods across pretty much every sector you can think of.
Right, right. Okay, and finally, let's maybe group together the Middle East, Africa, and South America. They seem to have their own distinct patterns.
They do. Let's take the Middle East first. Recorded a pretty robust 6.2% CAGR. That forecasts a rise from just over $190 million in 2021 to almost $400 million by 2033. Saudi Arabia is leading the charge there with nearly a 6.4% CAGR.
Interesting. And Africa?
Africa saw revenues grow from around $807 million to nearly $1.45 billion by 2033. The TGR there is a bit lower, around 5.2%. But Nigeria is a really significant player within Africa. Its market size is set to nearly double.
Yeah, Nigeria stands out, from about $315 million to nearly $590 million projected. What's the story there? Why such big growth in Nigeria specifically?
Well, Nigeria is one of Africa's largest economies, right, with a fast-growing population. So the growth there is likely driven by more local manufacturing, especially consumer goods, food, beverages, pharmaceuticals, too. There seems to be a growing push for domestic production, to meet local demand, rely less on import.
And that directly needs more packaging machinery.
Exactly. More sophisticated stuff like weight fillers. It points to this broader trend of sort of industrial maturing in key African nations.
Okay,
Yeah.
and South America?
South America shows consistent growth too, though the CAGR is slightly lower, around 5.5%. It's moving from about $190 million to over $350 million by 2033. Brazil and Argentina are the main contributors there. Chile's growth is a bit slower, closer to 5%.
It really is fascinating, though, seeing this demand stretch from the highly industrialized countries all the way to rapidly developing economies. The need for precise, efficient filling seems truly universal. It says a lot about global standards and what consumers expect everywhere.
Yeah, and if you connect all these dots, look at the bigger picture. These numbers just underscore how vital this weight filler market is across all industries, from the food we eat, the medicines we take, even chemicals and cleaning products. It highlights this fundamental growing global need for accuracy and speed in making things.
Which ultimately means less waste, safer product.
Exactly. Less waste, better safety, and consistent quality for you, the consumer. The sustained growth, it isn't just about the machines themselves. It's about this relentless drive for efficiency and reliability in how everything gets made and shipped around the world.
So what does this all boil down to for you? It means that hitting machinery, the stuff working behind the scenes on countless products you use daily, it's not some small niche thing. It's a thriving, expanding global industry. It reflects this really strong, consistent demand fueled by markets, both mature and emerging, all over the planet. It's kind of the silent engine ensuring products are consistent and meet quality standards, underpinning so much of modern life and commerce.
So we've journeyed through billions in revenue, impressive growth rates across continents, all for something as seemingly simple as making sure a product is filled to the right weight. This deep dive really reminds us how critical precision and efficiency are in the global economy, even in places we rarely stop to consider.
It does raise an interesting question, though. Given this consistent global growth we're seeing in weight fillers,
Yeah.
what might be the next big thing, the next big innovation or technological leap in packaging and precision filling? How could that shake up these trends even more? And what could that mean for things like cutting down food waste or optimizing supply chains even further? Maybe even affecting the cost and availability of everyday goods for all of us.
Definitely something to think about next time you open a perfectly filled package. We hope this deep dive helps you see the world with maybe a slightly different perspective, a bit more insight into its hidden workings.